Starting a new business is an exciting time, but there's a lot you should know about the legal and potential tax requirements. I'm Mark Steber, Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt, and today I'm going to share what you need to know to get an employer identification number, otherwise known as an EIN, in order to file your federal income tax return. So let's jump in. What is an EIN? An EIN, as I mentioned, is an employer identification number, also sometimes known as a federal tax identification number. And it's used to identify a business, sometimes your employer, and sometimes your own business. It's not for the average taxpayer, and an EIN is only for business, and it's a unique 9-digit number. An EIN is a tax identification number issued by the IRS. Also, you need to make sure you follow the state rules and regulations to form specific business types before applying for an EIN. So who needs an EIN? Well, most people need an EIN when they decide to open a new business or hire employees. Government agencies, nonprofit organizations, as well as trusts and estates also need EINs in order to pay vendors, to hire staff, to file tax forms, and to process payroll forms when they're separating from personal finances. You don't need employees to have an EIN. You just need to be a business. And even if you're a freelancer, have a side gig, or operate as a sole proprietor with no employees, there are numerous benefits to using an EIN to file your taxes instead of your Social Security number. The biggest, EINs help provide more security and protection than just a Social Security number, which unfortunately many scammers have easier access to compared to EINs. Lastly, an LLC or sole proprietorship that does not have employees does not need an EIN. These people can simply use their Social Security number to complete their Schedule C, profit or loss form from business, when filing their taxes. If you want an EIN for your self-employed business, though, you can certainly get one. What are the common uses of an EIN? Well, the IRS requires businesses to get an EIN as part of a reporting requirement. A company must have an EIN if the business has employees, operates as a corporation or partnership, files employment or excise or alcohol, tobacco, and firearms tax returns, or withholds taxes on income paid to non-resident aliens. But mostly because your operation is a bit more complex and has other reporting considerations. EINs do not expire, and the unique number won't ever be used again, even if your company goes out of business. The most common uses for an EIN and the benefits include hiring employees, paying employees, opening business bank accounts, filing business taxes, registering state business taxes, and arguably the biggest reason for the separate number is to keep personal finances separate from business finances. How do you apply for an EIN? Well, it's free to apply for an EIN, but the business must be located in the U.S. to be approved. You can ask for an application in a variety of ways: online, by phone, paper filing, or even faxing the application. The process is not complicated, but there may be some questions that can be confusing, and it doesn't hurt to ask a tax expert for assistance so nothing is done incorrectly, which could delay the IRS processing the request. To get an EIN application, fill out Form SS4, Application for Employer Identification Number. On the form, you'll include the name of the company's principal officer, partner, owner, and any other title, along with their personal tax identification number. Form SS4 also has information you'll fill out that identifies the type of business and entity that it is, and the reason you're applying for the EIN, and the start or acquisition date of the company. As I said, it can be confusing. So when should you file Form SS4 and receive your EIN? Well, if you plan on forming a business entity other than a sole proprietorship, you should wait until you have the approved articles of organization or corporate charter from the state where you formed your business. Once you have these documents, then you should file for an EIN before you take other steps to formalize your operations, such as opening a business bank account. It's one of the important early first steps to take as you start and grow your business. If you're operating as a sole proprietorship without creating an actual business entity, you can request an EIN right away and begin immediately using it for your clients, your bank accounts, and other situations requiring a tax identification number. Your EIN will be created instantly if you use the online application, and the IRS will also mail a copy of the notice containing your new EIN. If you're filing SS4 on paper, your EIN will arrive in 4 to 6 weeks, or 8 to 10 weeks if you're outside the United States. And once you receive it, store it in a safe place because there's not an easy tax ID database online. Your EIN confirmation number might also be emailed to you. You can also call the IRS if you've lost the number. The IRS will always mail you another copy. And before I let you go, I'd like to do a quick rapid-fire answer to some other frequently asked questions. What happens if you lose your EIN? Well, you'll need to contact the IRS directly. Do not apply for a new number. Unless you request a change in an EIN, it will always be the same. When should you change your EIN or apply for a new EIN? Well, if you're simply changing the name of your business or moving, you do not need to request a new EIN. But there are a few reasons that come to mind for when you should make the request to change, including when you're starting another whole new business. A new partnership is formed after a partner exits, or a new one enters the current partnership. You bought or inherited a business and want to treat it as a new business. If you have bankruptcy proceedings, or a new corporate charter is issued by your state. Is an EIN the same as a tax ID? No. A tax ID is a tax identification number and is meant for individuals, not businesses. And it can get confusing when people interchange the terms or use them incorrectly. Be sure to refer to the correct number when you're referencing your EIN or your tax ID numbers. What's the difference between an EIN and a TIN? Or more commonly, an ITIN? That's a great question. There's literally an alphabet soup in the IRS and the world of income taxes. A TIN is used to identify people who can't obtain a Social Security number but do earn income in the United States and are required to file a federal income tax return. This includes people who are non-resident aliens who should pay taxes, resident aliens who should pay taxes, non-residents claiming tax treaty benefits, or a dependent or spouse of a non-resident visa holder. So an ITIN or a TIN is much different than an EIN or a tax ID number. Do EIN numbers expire? No, they do not expire, and they will not change on their own. Are you starting your own business and need an EIN? Well, talk to a tax pro at Jackson Hewitt and schedule an appointment today at jacksonhewitt.com. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more information. And hit that notification bell to stay updated on all things taxes.